Honorable Speaker, as the mover, Honorable Chepkonga, has said in his movement of consideration of this bicameral relations bill, many of the amendments, Honorable Speaker, that have been proposed by the Senate have been overtaken by time. Honorable Speaker, it's important to note that the House, in consideration of all the amendments passed by the Senate, also, I believe by the time the committee was considering, the Supreme Court ruling had not come out. But the Supreme Court ruling is now out. And I must take this opportunity, Honorable Speaker, to note with great appreciation the great work done by the judges of the Supreme Court in arbitrating in a matter that should never in the first place have ended up in court, leave alone finding its way all the way to the Supreme Court of the Republic of Kenya. Because, Honorable Speaker, these are issues that between the two houses, we should have been able to resolve. But, Honorable Speaker, in the book of Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe, somewhere that Okonkwo noted the need or the desire to celebrate all your achievements, irrespective of whether other people are celebrating or not. And he said that the lizard that jumped from the high Iroko tree to the ground had to celebrate and praise himself if no one else did. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, we are at such a point that the National Assembly, having jumped from the big Iroko tree, whether anybody else praises us or celebrates us, we must celebrate this House for our fortitude and our commitment to the word and letter of the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya as enacted by Kenyans in 2010. Because we are vindicated by the Supreme Court, Honorable Speaker, that indeed the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya as enacted in 2010 and passed resoundingly by Kenyans gave particular mandates to both houses, appreciating that we are now in a bicameral system of parliament, but also gave specific functions and duties to each of the two houses. And that's why I said, Honorable Speaker, we have gone through a painful 6 years. And many of us agonized over the years on why we need to be fighting in court between us and the Senate. And Honorable Speaker, you remember there are many, even in the last parliament, because Honorable Speaker, I am lucky that at the time these 23 acts of parliament were passed, I was a member of this House. And through the agonizing 6 years, there are many members of this House also who almost gave up and would often question the leadership and the Speaker of the House on the need to be fighting in court. And some even suggested, why don't we just reenact these laws again and send them to the Senate? But there are many of us, Honorable Speaker, truly believing in the position espoused in our Constitution, that as much as we have a bicameral parliament, there are specific functions and responsibilities of each house. And the Constitution is clear on what manner of bills should go to the Senate and which ones need not go, Honorable Speaker. And that's why I take this opportunity, Honorable Speaker, to celebrate the Supreme Court judges, to celebrate this House for staying true to the provisions of our Constitution, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, you know, when we refer bills to the other House, we never do it out of benevolence or pity, or because we do it just to please people in the other House, or because we are not able to enact laws. We refer bills that ought to be referred to the other House because these are the dictates of the Constitution. And the bills that we do not refer to the other House, we do not refer to the other House because that is what the Constitution dictates. that, for instance, on matters that touch on money bill, and I must mention this, Honorable Speaker, because I know we are in the mediation process of another bill, the National Lottery Bill. Again, I saw the other house, the Senate, attempt to bring in amendments that touch on taxation, Honorable Speaker. Matters that clearly are not under the purview of the Senate, as provided for in our Constitution. Therefore, let me take this opportunity to remind the chair of the Finance Committee and the chair of the Sports Committee, who are leading the mediation committee between us and the Senate, that nothing that touches on taxation, on administration of tax, should be considered in those amendments that came from the Senate. Because it was a disingenuous way of the Senate trying to participate in tax matters by introducing amendments to a National Assembly bill and introducing amendments that touch on tax administration and tax matters, Honorable Speaker. So that we get into mediation, and now we start haggling over those. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, now that the Supreme Court has set the record straight, and as painful as it has been, Honorable Speaker, because I told you many despaired along the way over these 6 years, but we have learned our painful lesson, Honorable Speaker, of how not to resolve bicameral disputes. Because for 6 years, immense public resources have been spent paying lawyers. Immense time has been spent of our officers in the National Assembly and those in the Senate at a time when our internal lawyers and public officers who work in Parliament would have been doing other meaningful things. They spent time, Honorable Speaker, fighting over this dispute in court. And it was a matter that would have simply resolved without ever having to go to court, Honorable Speaker. But, Honorable Speaker, let me conclude by saying that this Supreme Court ruling is a win-win situation, Honorable Speaker. It is a win for Parliament as a whole. Both houses have now been reminded of our constitutional responsibilities and the limits of our mandates, our respective mandates, Honorable Speaker. It is now clear where our mandate begins and where it ends, and where that of the Senate begins and where it ends. It is now time for both houses to discharge our responsibilities and observe our constitutional limits diligently without need to haggle, without need to throw words at each other. Honorable Speaker, as I said when I began, with that in mind, and in this win-win situation, and this win for Parliament, and a win for the Constitution of Kenya, Honorable Speaker, an institution that were created by the Constitution of Kenya, including the Supreme Court and the two houses, Honorable Speaker. Many of the amendments that have been proposed by the Senate in this bill have been spent because that Supreme Court judgment, as delivered, has dealt in great detail. And those who have taken time to read the judgment will see that the Supreme Court judges did take a lot of their time in considering all the issues. And therefore, many of these amendments are overtaken by time and events, including that judgment. And we should not be taken back to Egypt now. Let us cross the Mediterranean and get out of Egypt, Honorable Speaker, and agree with the committee to reject all those amendments, as the chair said. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable David Ochieng, before you contribute, I want to recognize the presence in the public gallery of students from PCA Chogoria, Central Thiga Church, from Mara constituency, Tharaka Nithi. And I think we have the member of parliament for Tharaka, who comes from Tharaka County and Tharaka constituency, who is going to represent a member of parliament for Mara. The Honorable Murugara, look this side. This is the public gallery. That one is the speaker's gallery. And if you want to get closer so that they can watch you, go that way, because this is probably...
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, thank you for giving me the chance to welcome this team from Mara constituency. It's supposed to be on behalf of my good friend Kareke Mbuki, who is not here. They are very much welcome here into the house to observe the proceedings and also see what happens in this August House, where they have elected leaders to come and represent the interests of the various communities in the country. Those remarks, I sincerely welcome them to observe the proceedings.
Yes. Proceed, Honorable.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Let me also take this opportunity to welcome that group from Chogoria constituency in the Tharaka Nithi County. Honorable Speaker, this I hear the Honorable member for Buri saying it is PCA. I wanted to say these are very good people from Chogoria. As he says, it is a home of the second home of the Scottish missionaries who established the Presbyterian Church of East Africa when they first arrived in Kibwezi, before they moved on to the cooler areas of Kikuyu. The only other place they found that was as cool and as good as Kikuyu was Chogoria. And therefore, I want to take this opportunity to welcome these visitors to the house. And the people of the Tharaka Nithi, or otherwise known as the Stronghold, are very good people. I was in Chogoria last week accompanying the president on the tour of the mountain. And the people of the Tharaka Nithi and Chogoria can tell you that indeed the mountain is intact. Those people who claimed to have written a will on behalf of the people of Mount Kenya, even the visitors here today will tell you that they have the capacity to make decisions on who to vote for, including their member of parliament and other leaders, without having to look at wills written by individuals. And indeed, when we went to Chogoria, the people of Chogoria told us last week that if anybody wants to do a will, you do a will for your wife, your two boys, and any other any others that you may have out there, but not for the people of Kenya, the people of Chogoria, or the people of Mount Kenya. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The Honorable David Cheng, the minority leader. Can I give a minority leader just before you, because you had caught the speaker's eye, but I'm sure you respect your own minority leader here.
Floor for him.
Thank you. Minority leader, proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I want to thank Honorable Ochieng for ceding the time for me, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Ochieng is a potential presidential candidate from my area. Mr. Speaker, yeah, we are looking at a team with good eyes, but I'm telling him he has to wait for some time, not long now, but he's almost there. Having said that, Mr. Speaker, I stand to oppose this motion, Mr. Speaker, because why do I say so, Mr. Speaker? Mr. Speaker, these issues that we are conversing this afternoon here, Speaker, are issues that have been long-standing. Mr. Speaker, from the year 2013, when we started having this bicameral parliament, Mr. Speaker, we have been having these issues. Mr. Speaker, I remember in that parliament, I was there, we were grappling with the idea whether to seek opinion from the Attorney General, to seek opinion from scholars on what is the mandate of the two different houses, Mr. Speaker. But now I'm very happy because the Supreme Court of Kenya has pronounced itself on this matter. Mr. Speaker, these matters have been very clear from the word go. Anybody who could read the Constitution could understand very well Article 94, 95, and 96 of the Constitution. And that's why, under the initiative of Honorable Chepkonga, we decided to initiate a bill as a House that can at least demarcate the functions of the two houses, Mr. Speaker. But apparently, the Senate, in their own wisdom of lack of it, decided to return the bill with outrageous amendments that just negates the whole purpose of the bill, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I remember vividly one time when the senators moved to court dancing on the road, Mr. Speaker, and we were sitting here watching them on TV. They were literally dancing. You know, you were there, you were in the Senate that time. Honorable, the lady, Honorable from Marsabit, Naomi Wako, the deputy whip, says she was a member of that Senate. They took 24 bills that we passed in this house, danced on the road, Mr. Speaker, like people who have won an election or something, and went to court with the sole purpose and intention of demonizing and intimidating and making the House of National Assembly look bad, Mr. Speaker. When we knew very well, when we had clarity of mind that the Senate had no role in those bills, Mr. Speaker. And in the end, we got vindicated. Last week or the other week, when the Supreme Court did their ruling, we were vindicated. Public resources were wasted that were used in the litigation process. So, Mr. Speaker, it is now very clear, like day and night, what are the functions of each houses. And this debate of what is the function of the Senate and what is the functions of the National Assembly, Mr. Speaker, must end today afternoon, Mr. Speaker. From today going forward, the Senate must know that the Supreme Court has said what they're supposed to do. Mr. Speaker, we have reached a level in this parliament, the bicameral parliament, where the Senate was demanding that taxation bills, budgetary bills, money bills, and all kinds of bills must be taken to the Senate before they become an act of parliament. The court has now categorically ruled with clarity that the Senate of the Republic of Kenya has no role in money bills completely, Mr. Speaker. They can only deal with monies that the county governments are sharing among themselves through the revenue allocation bill, the county revenue allocation bill, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, anybody who understood or who read the Constitution properly knew very well that the Senate had no role at all in many bills. But they decided on their own volition to take the matter to court. First, they took it to the High Court, they lost it. They went to the Court of Appeal, they lost. They went to the Supreme Court now, and it finished the matter with finality. So, Mr. Speaker, counties are supposed to deal with matters Senate is supposed to deal with matters concerning counties. And the National Assembly is supposed to deal with issues that concern the national people, the constituencies, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, when the Constitution is very clear, and you have been told you are supposed to deal with matters concerning counties, why do you want to infringe on other people's work? If you feel the Senate has no much work to do, next election contest for a constituency. Come to the National Assembly and do that kind of work. Mr. Speaker, the oversighting of national organs, Mr. Speaker, is the mandate of the National Assembly. When I see Senate calling Kenya Pipeline, Senate calling national irrigation, what is this thing called? Kenya Power. I just see, if today I was the minister of, or the CEO of that organization, I will not go up here before the Senate. You can send me as many summons as you want, because we have to adhere to the Constitution. The Constitution has demarcated the boundaries. Counties, Senate is supposed to deal matters concerning counties. And now we have a Supreme Court ruling. I don't know what they're going to do. Whether the Senate has the powers to annul the judgment of the Supreme Court, we will wait to see. Because it looks like the Senate now has powers to do anything. They can even annul a judgment, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I know how our colleagues are feeling. I know that they are feeling that they are supposed to do everything the National Assembly is doing. But unfortunately, the Constitution is what guides us as a nation. If the Constitution does not allow you to do that work, and why are they shying away from dealing with issues of counties, Mr. Speaker? Because we have 47 counties, and the main benefit the Kenyans got from the new Constitution, Mr. Speaker, is devolution. If I was a senator today, I will be preoccupied a lot with how to fortify and make revolution work, Mr. Speaker. Because that is where the rubber meets the road. That is where Kenyans are supposed to be served, Mr. Speaker. But now it looks like it is more lucrative to deal with the national issues. You could see last year what was happening. Every small national issue that comes up that needs to be dealt with by the National Assembly was taken up by the Senate. Every national issue. And now making the National Assembly look like they don't know what they're doing. We have been waiting for the Supreme Court ruling. That's why we were quiet. Yeah, we were saying, let the Supreme Court rule. When the Supreme Court does their ruling, then we will know where our beacons are, how far we can go. Mr. Speaker, We must have clarity in this country, Mr. Speaker, because we cannot, very soon, even county assemblies will demand the work of the National Assembly or the work of the Senate. So if the senators want to do what they are supposed to do, then they should confine themselves to the work they have been given. Mr. Speaker, look at what they have done to this. Chepkonga and company, Mr. Speaker, went ahead to bring a bicameral bill, Mr. Speaker, so that it can help smooth running of the business of Parliament. What have I done? Because they thought they are going to get favorable judgments of the Supreme Court, they amended the whole thing in a manner that it becomes useless, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, me, I'm very happy today. And I am very happy because in my lifetime, before I leave this house, Mr. Speaker, we now know what is the function of the National Assembly and what is the function of the Senate, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is what the Supreme Court said. I want to read it verbatim. The exclusion of the Senate from participating in the enactment of money bills is not an anomaly, but deliberate as it aligns with established legislative practices in other asymmetrical bicameral systems. That's the Supreme Court talking, it's not me. Recognizing the critical role of financial legislation in ensuring the smooth functioning of the state and the effective delivery of public services, many constitutions prescribe a specific legislative procedure for money bills. These provisions are designed to avoid conflicts between the chambers of the bicameral parliament and to prevent prolonged deadlocks over financial matters that could hinder governance and economic stability, Mr. Speaker. Because what the Senate was trying to do was to hinder economic stability in this country. When you usurp powers, because according to me, the last 10 years, what was happening, what the Senate was trying to do was what I described as power grab. They wanted to grab the powers of the National Assembly. The functions, the powers of the past is with the National Assembly. If I was even to go further, I would have recommended even the division of revenue bill doesn't need to go to the Senate. It's a money bill by all intent and purposes, Mr. Speaker. And now the National Assembly has been given by the Senate powers that it can originate all bills, money bills, concerning counties. But our brothers in the Senate cannot originate money bills anymore from today. They can only originate bills that concern counties. But us, we can originate both bills that concern counties and money bills, Mr. Speaker. Bills on taxation, bills on appropriation, bills on budgetary. All that now belongs to the National Assembly. And we are going to do our duty professionally, diligently, for the good of the country. Mr. Speaker, it went to the extent where they almost described us as a lower house, when the Constitution has prescribed completely the function that we have, and it makes this house to be the upper house. Because when you don't have the power of the past, how can you call yourself the upper house? In my view, even to reduce expenditure, to reduce the wage bill of the country, the Senate should be able to meet quarterly. The Senate sitting should be once for 3 months to look at county issues, and 4 sittings in a year is enough for the Senate, Mr. Speaker. In my view, if my view was considered. But because you can end up sitting every week 3 times, and there's no business to conduct. Now it forces you to infringe on other people's business, on other people's functions, constitutional functions. Why can't you just sit for once 3 months, look at county issues, look at them, how they are doing, audit their books, and then go home and rest. Then after another 3 months, 4 times a year is good enough for the Senate to sit, Mr. Speaker. And I'm not doing this in a derogatory manner, Mr. Speaker. I really mean it, because that is how we are going to reduce even the wage bill of this country, Mr. Speaker. So in my view, Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, I want to say this. I never thought a day will arrive in this country, because look, they took 24, not 1, not 2, not 3. They took 24 bills that were passed by this house to court. 24 bills. And the court could only agree with them on 2 bills only. All the rest was said the court declared that they were constitutional. How much money do you think we have spent in litigation? Both of us, both the Senate and National Assembly. How much money? A lot of money. Whose money is that? Taxpayers' money. So, Mr. Speaker, there was no need of taking those bills to court. There should have been an amicable way to solve that problem. The two houses could sit. Even now they are saying the concurrence that is required on bills by the two speakers only should happen when somebody raises it. If nobody raises it, there's no need for concurrence. The bills can go on. So, Mr. Speaker, I know we have differences of age set. The people in the Senate might be much older than us in terms of age, but that is not an African customary sitting or organization, Mr. Speaker. This is a constitutional organ that deals and does its functions in accordance with the Constitution. So if you are old, just don't bring here issues of African that you have to respect the aged. You have to respect people older than you. No, some of them now are young, and they
Give him an additional 2 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, I know some of our colleagues in the Senate now are young and vibrant. I beseech them and I advise them, in the coming election, please go to a constituency. That is where work is. Hii nyumba ya wasee, wachia wasee.
Order, Honorable Minority Leader. You cannot mix the two languages in one contribution.
Mr. Speaker,
You can either go straight Swahili or go English. You started with English, finish with English.
Mr. Speaker, I'm using the nyumba of wasee in quotes, Mr. Speaker. In quotes, Mr. Speaker, because I don't know how to describe nyumba wasee in English. They are called what? The House of Old Men. Or the House of Lords, Mr. Speaker. Or House of Lords. Mr. Speaker, the House of Lords. I know there is not much work there. The young people who are my age mates, our contemporaries, in the next election, either try to be a governor or a member of the National Assembly, so that you don't feel bad, or you don't feel misused, or you don't feel that your energy is not being utilized at your prime age, Mr. Speaker. Come to the National Assembly, where you will deal with budgetary, taxation, appropriation, and all kinds of matters that concern constituencies and the people of Kenya. And issues of national concern, not issues that concern counties only. And you know issues that can concern counties: burial permits, how to bury, the pets when they die, sewage issues, water issues. Those are the issues that are of concern, Mr. Speaker, to the counties. And let us stick to our lines, Mr. Speaker. With those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I oppose this motion. Thank you very much.
Honorable David Ochieng.